There is no scenario where Killmonger is ever seen as a good guy in the MCU. I know that over the course of this series, it got a bit of a lukewarm reception. A lot of people didn't really like that it was an anthology type of series. I didn't mind that. I like anthology series. I was a big fan of Black Mirror, and I was excited to see what Marvel would do with a similar storytelling style. One of the areas where the show stumbled right out of the gate was the first episode, essentially retelling the first full Captain America film. And if you saw the movie, which I didn't, but if you did see it, it was basically shot for shot, complete retelling of the first film, just with Captain Carter instead of Steve Rogers. Not a lot of people like that. I will say though, after that first episode, which was maybe a slow start for some people, I enjoyed pretty much every episode there was. I thought that the series, at least to me, felt like one of the first times in a while that Marvel was attempting to think outside the box, which how they normally do their storytelling now. That being said, there were some instances where it seemed like the people making the What If show were told what they could and could not use for storylines, which, sometimes it didn't quite work, but the show, for the most part, got pretty dark, which stayed pretty close to the actual What If comic book line. And so in that sense, that was really good to see that they stayed pretty loyal to most of the episodes having really unfortunate endings. One of the things I loved every week was just seeing what idea they would come up with, and some of the ideas got pretty out there. I loved all of the Chadwick Boseman episodes that he was in. T'Challa Star-Lord I thought was a real treat. He did a great job bringing his own attitude to that character, which I thought really, really worked well for who Star-Lord is as a character in the MCU. I want to talk real briefly about what they did with Killmonger, who I thought they might try to redeem going forward because Michael B. Jordan box office draw. Maybe in the next Black Panther movie they try to turn him into a good guy. There is no scenario where Killmonger is ever seen as a good guy in the MCU. They did pretty much everything possible to make him as unlikable a character as you can. And part of me is not quite sure why, because they killed him off in Black Panther, so, it wasn't like they had a reason to make you hate him more. And if you were going to bring him back as a good guy, that's not going to happen now, because he is one of the biggest villains in the MCU, seemingly. In this show, he did everything wrong. He did all of the bad stuff he possibly could. So I think that's going to be interesting going forward. Some highlights of this season, some of my personal favorite episodes. T'Challa Star-Lord for sure. I loved the Marvel Zombies episode. I really liked the Party Thor episode because it was just, I don't know, it's like they all got drunk and just decided, let's do an episode where Thor lives in Vegas. I thought that was fantastic. Getting into the final episode of the show, I thought it was okay. I think as a whole, the series was a little rushed. I don't know how much needed to be cut. I know animation takes a long time. I think some of the episodes in this show, if not all of them, would have worked better if they were at least 45 minutes instead of 30. I know that animation takes a long time. I know that maybe it wasn't really possible to do longer episodes. I don't know how much Marvel stepped in and controlled what they were able to make and what they weren't. But at times it felt a little bit rushed. Now, getting into this last episode, I think that's one of the areas where the show started to stumble a little bit, at least for me. I think that it had a really, high impact, high octane finale. A lot of great fight scenes and all that stuff is good. But there was one thing, they introduced Thanos Gamora, who we literally never saw for the whole series until this episode. So it was kind of weird to have one character that had never been introduced previously in any of the other episodes. I think also some of the people chosen for this last episode kind of surprised me. It was weird that they left out Spider-Man, who, I'm pretty sure he survived in the zombie episode, so I don't know, why they wouldn't bring him into this. And also, Doctor Strange opened a portal to the zombie universe, but only Scarlet Witch. Weird. Also, Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. Why didn't they I don't know. That was strange. No pun, but that was a weird decision. I didn't understand Killmonger until the end, and it, spoilers, ended up being part of Uatu's plan in order to save the multiverse, I guess. I don't know. It was an interesting plan. It was an interesting episode. For me, personally, I think I would have preferred if the whole series was single episode anthology, beginning, middle, end, not connected. I think mostly because they didn't connect the episodes until episodes 8 and 9. I mean, a little bit in episode 7 with Vision, Ultron showing up. I don't know. I think that as a full episode, if that had been 1 hour, that might have worked. I don't really know why they chose to connect the whole show. Mostly just because sometimes the show felt like it didn't really need or want to be connected to other episodes. And they left enough cliffhangers in certain episodes that either you're gonna go back to them in season 2, or you should have just ended it right there. And even if you do go back to it, some of these felt like full season long arcs that would have need to be explored. So in that sense, I didn't really understand all the decisions, but animation was great. Voice acting was really good. Even the people who were not the actual actors of the characters, they did a pretty good job, especially Black Widow. I don't know who did her voice. I'm sorry, I should have looked it up. But dead ringer for Scarlett Johansson. Like really, really close to what Scarlett Johansson's voice actually sounds like. Overall, I thought the series was pretty good. Good jumping off point. Good season 1. I kind of felt that way about a lot of these Marvel shows. They've all felt like great first seasons and hopefully get expanded upon for second seasons, because I think they could do a lot more with What If, especially when they're able to use X-Men, Fantastic Four, and maybe go even darker with some of these stories. But let me know what you guys thought of the show. Did you like it? Was it disappointing? Was it just kind of average to you? Leave a comment down below. Love to hear what everybody thinks. And I'll see you in the next one.